us about it, but that's why we're here. And Ron Gallo, about December of that year, somebody asked about, well, the host club is going to be the Bighorn Amateur Radio Club. Who's going to be the sponsor of this? Well, we've had a Wyoming section forever, and some money in the section, and we put our heads together and came up with, let's go for a non-profit. I'm in Arizona, he's in Wyoming, and it's probably a good thing that I was 800 miles away. We did emails, we did phone calls, he went up to the state capitol and did the paperwork and got it done. Near the end of my tour in Arizona, it's a tough duty down there, 3 months worth of sunshine and no wind. He asked me when I'm coming home. When do we got to get this done, Jack. We got to get it taken care of. Every day, another message. And I think the words were, Ron, I've ridden this horse as long as I'm going to ride it. I'm going to be home when I get home. Don't call me, don't email me. Without Ron Gallo, we would not have our Wyoming Ham Con Inc. And I want to thank him most sincerely. And, he's riding off into the sunset. And it says the same, do I have to read it? I stumbled over the last one. Can I maybe do a better job this time? So, and where's Mr. Pyle? Did Mr. Pyle show up?
I'm working on it.
All right.
He ran Susie back out to their camper.
Okay. Jerry is another big part of this convention. Jerry and I go back many years, and I knew he was the president of the club at that time, and Justin is now the president. Justin just took off on me. Anybody else want to leave? Give me your name.
Okay, the ARRL forum started, and Jack's been asking for you. You're getting presented with something they're talking about.
Okay, well, we love Jerry dearly. He's been around forever like I have. So, same thing for Jerry, WB7S. He's riding off into the sunset.
I'll let him know.
And I thank him dearly, love him dearly for what he's contributed to this. And that's the Wyoming Ham Con Inc. Now, you give him a big hand. Last, when was right? When did we do right?
Last summer.
I know it was in August. We had a Wyoming section gathering in Wright, Wyoming, and at that time Garth was the section manager, and for many years. How many years were you? About 100? What?
7.5.
7.5. Well,
9.
I took over for Garth, and at that time I recognized him at that meeting, and I had a piece of paper, and I says, it's been tradition in the past to present to the outgoing section manager a plaque. And I promised him a plaque. You remember that? I promised him a plaque at that time. Well, I usually keep my promises. So Garth, if you'd come up here. This is to Garth L. Crow Sr., WY7GC, for recognition of outstanding contribution to the amateur radio community while serving as the ARRL Wyoming section manager. Thank you much. Myself, is that good enough?
That's good.
All right.
I can get you a chair. You can come sit right here if you want.
As I said before, this is your forum, and so now we're going to open this floor up for questions from the floor. Yes, sir.
Interested in the ARRL's background for their proposed entry-level license.
Yeah, the question was, he's interested in the ARRL's proposal for an entry-level license and wants background information. The ARRL has presented an idea to the public for us to have an entry-level license. It's not necessarily a dumbed-down license. It's more of a as I heard it said just this morning from one hand that's been around for a long time, when he was 11, he didn't have the technical knowledge to get his license. So we're looking at a limited level license that will allow younger people to get involved. The focus group is from the 9 to 18-year-old group, which is the hardest ones to get licensed. Unfortunately, the FCC will not allow us to say, you got to be 18 or younger to take this test, so we have to call it an entry-level license for everyone. But there's a committee together. They're studying what we can and can't do, what we should and should not do for an entry-level license. And we have, each one of the divisions has a member. Our member is Paul Veal, N0AH down in Colorado, who's a teacher. He works with young kids all the time, and he's very knowledgeable, so I stuck him on the committee, and I said, if you don't do it, I'm going to shoot you. He decided that he would take that. He took me serious. But the committee's enrolled. We will see a report at the July board meeting on what they think is going to happen. As far as it goes, I'm not on the committee, and I'm not in the loop, so I can't answer anything other than what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it.
I didn't either.
It's just an exploratory committee. We don't know if it's going to happen at all. And another thing is the ARRL can't make this license class. We have to present it to the FCC so that we can say, look, we'd like to do this. And the FCC can say, I'll go take a hike, or they say, hey, that's a good idea, let's run it up for comment. At that point, every member of the ham radio community will have a chance to comment to the FCC on whether they like it or want to get rid of it. And at the end of that, they'll put the stack of good ones here and the stack of bad ones here, and they'll weigh them out, and the winner wins. So that's just the way it works.
My understanding, they put out for comments from us already, or at least ARRL did, and they have
that's
been
true.
so overwhelmed with those comments that they're having a hard time getting through them all.
This is true. We did put out, and it's for members only, the comment period. The thing is that the ARRL will present this to the FCC, but it will not be an ARRL license. It'll be an amateur radio license. So our comments at this point are, do we really want to proceed with this, or do we not? And like I said, it's been overwhelming, and so far the support is there. So we're looking at a possibility for a proposed rulemaking. And again, it's a proposed rulemaking. We don't get to make that choice. Someone else does. It's someone you pay tax dollars to. Anyone else? Good. That's up.
Oh, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Can I have the mic back with you?
That's his question.
You can answer
Jack
it.
asked if you could have the mic back. I'm just repeating the question.
Jerry, you can go back to lunch, and Gene, you can go sit down.
Yes, you may have the
No,
mic.
no. Come on in, Jerry.
Jerry.
You- Yeah, set it there.
You setting the beer down?
Yeah, not supposed to bring outside food in here.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
As I said, Jerry and I go back a long, long, long ways. Long time. And when we started planning this, he was my main man up here with the club. He was the president at the time. And I want to recognize him as I did Ron and Emily. He's riding off into the sunset too, right? Yep. Do better things. So I'll see if I can stumble through this a little better than the first one. I did spend 40 years as an educator. You'd think I could read. Presented to Jerry L. Pyle, WB7S, for recognition for serving as an inaugural, that was the word I stumbled over first, board member of the Wyoming Ham Con Inc. And without Jerry and this club, this wouldn't have happened today. So thank you, Jerry. And the next person I'm going to call up here, I'm going to be in trouble tonight. Maybe already in trouble. This is the CEO of this organization. This is my wife, Jean. And she has a shirt, she got a C. Okay. And she's in charge of these wonderful baskets out there. If you haven't bought any baskets, go do that. And that money is going to help support some of these prizes and whatnot. Another little thing I want to say, not only is she the CEO, my best friend, but tomorrow is our 50th wedding anniversary.
Jack, you've been telling me you're 39 years old. How does that work out? Are there any more questions from the floor? Yes, sir.
Dwayne, what's the status of the House Bill 555?
House Bill 555 has passed the House.
Okay.
We have no problem with House Bill 555. It's done for this legislative year. The Senate bill, what's the number on the Senate bill? I'm sorry, I must confess, I don't remember the number on the Senate bill. The Senate bill is being juggled around like a bad potato. We're having the same problem from the same senator in Florida, and things are not looking great for us at this point. There is right now a letter writing campaign to the Florida senator, and maybe we can jog it around, but he has the ear of the HOA, or they have his ear, and he's being very stubborn about it. One senator. If this one senator can change his mind, then this particular bill will be passed on what is called the unanimous consent agenda, which means that no one is arguing against it. We're not going to bother with a vote. It passes. And at that point, then it goes through into two committees, one from the House and one from the Senate, and they'll put together a bill that the president will sign. So right now we're being held up by one senator. Unfortunately, you can't. He's not your senator. He's a Florida senator. So if I got any Florida representatives and Florida members here, just raise your hand. I didn't think so. Unfortunately, the only people they're going to listen to are his voting constituents. So, you know, we could write all the letters we want. We've tried. It doesn't work because they don't see that you're a voting member from Florida. In the round file it goes, they don't even bother reading it.
So if you know anybody that lives in Florida,
I know a guy who knows a guy.
I understand that, Jack. It'd be really nice if you called Guido up and say, take care of this problem for us. But
One thing that can be effective is if you write your senators from Wyoming and have them go to him.
the drawback here is that we're looking for a unanimous consent agenda. And if we stir up other members and he gets their ear, some minds can be changed the other way. So we have to be very, very careful about a letter writing campaign to ask them to do something when they're right now agreeing with it. It's one of those things where it's let sleeping dogs lie. Yeah, and it's politics is horrible. I'm a terrible politician because like I said, I'm an engineer. Things are 1-0, on or off, on or off. And politics is not like that. So I have a little bit of a problem with the way the politics work. And we all know why I live in Wyoming. Are there any? Have I beat this dog to death? Okay. Are there any more? Yes, sir.
Take care of that dog. There was some questions sent out about moving, and I propose we do so, the partition at 83 1/3 meters up to 81 meters, so that the phone band is at 3,700 instead of all the way down to 3,600. Where's that?
That has actually been presented to the FCC as a part of a PRM, proposed rulemaking. It's out of our hands at this point. The thing is that what we're looking at, we're looking to become more in line with Region 1 and Region 2 for all of their stuff internationally. But again, we only present to the FCC our suggestions. They're the ones that make the rules as to where we get to talk. There's a difference between the band plan and the band rules. And the league has a band plan, the FCC has band rules. So we can say, yeah, we'd like to do this, but if the FCC doesn't do it, we don't get it. So again, we have presented this, it's out there to come in line with Region 1 and Region 2 internationally. Yeah.
Last year I talked to Chris Emley. He'd written a letter to the FCC about grow light balance tests.
There's your mistake, you talked to a lawyer.
He never heard anything. Has anything else been done about that?
They are actually, I'm sorry, his question was, is anything being done about the grow light ballast problem with respect to it producing noise? The FCC's rules are, it's illegal. The FCC has very little teeth in the mouth right now to chew up on one of these things. They are not a very aggressive alligator in the pond because they've really been cut down. Now the new chairman has put in for a budget that's larger than the last chairman, and he wants to hire more enforcement people. So we may see changes coming in the enforcement area simply because Chairman Pye really wants to get enforcement going. He's actually a good friend of ours as far as amateur radio operators go, and he wants to see things change to better our hobby. And enforcement is one of the things he's looking at. We're also at present revamping the OO system so that it itself becomes easier to report to the FCC. That is simply in the works. Brian, I was wishing Brian was here because he's the chair of that committee, and I didn't talk to him enough about it, but yeah, the OO program is going to change some, and that will help because, again, it is against FCC rules and regulations to have emissions within our bands. And so the grow lights are a problem, and they want to do something about it. They just don't have the enforcement people to do anything about it. One thing though, if the grow light is an illegal pot operation, you can fix that pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's hard to find an illegal in Colorado.
I guess you're right there.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
So is it Senator Marco Rubio or Bill Nelson?
Nelson. Senator Nelson. He asked which senator in Florida is our holdup, and it's Senator Nelson. Yes, sir?
Does the ARRL have a policy on internet neutrality? That's equal access to the internet? They don't.
The internet is not in the realm of amateur radio. So.
Sure as in usage it is.
I understand that, but the FCC again controls what happens on the internet, and we don't get to write the rules. We get to suggest them. Jeff wants to say something.
Yeah, I've been in that business most of my adult life, and I have very strong personal opinions about net neutrality, but from anything I've read or discussed with the league hasn't stated any position with respect to net neutrality. So if you want me to bend your ear or rip it off, you can talk to me out in the hall. I'll take the badge off.
You do have an opinion.
Follow up on the OO thing. When do you think they're going to have the re-record program available, and is it going to require OOs to retest to be qualified as OOs, or do you have any idea?
I personally don't have an idea because, again, I haven't chatted with Brian too much about it, but I don't think that it's going to require the OOs to retest. One of the things that we're looking at is dormant OOs. We'd like to see some of those go away because we have too many in places where we don't need them and not enough in places where we do need them.
I can expand some on this one. I can expand on some of this from last weekend at Dayton. Rick Roderick, president of the league, addressed to some degree where they're at, or what the current status of the OO revampment program. One is it's a change in the program from one-time offenses. They're looking for patterns of violations. So they're out to get the person that is doing something and doing it consistently, and they're not going to be chasing after the one-off type person. It will involve retraining of all OOs. So there will be new training material for the new program. And I think those were the two big things I pulled out from Rick's comments there at Dayton, the OO committee and where things are at.
I talked about official observers now.
I'm sorry, thank you for correcting.
To change that a little bit.
Huh? Testing and training? Okay. It may be two different things. We still may not have to retest.
I don't think they do anything.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, does the league have a long-term position, future vision for the 60-meter band?
I am really sorry, that's a tough one for me to answer. He asked about the 60-meter program and whether we have a clear future plan for it, or we're gonna just keep picking away at it. Once again, we can pick away at it a lot, but the FCC is the one that makes the rules and regulations on what we can and can't do on that frequency, or those frequencies. They have relaxed them a little bit so that we are able to use something other than single sideband, which was the only choice at one time. Now we can do RIDI, CW, and single sideband data. There are several other programs that can be done there. They still are very adamant about it's 100 watts effective radiated power over a freestanding dipole. So, you know, it's one of those things where even if your dipole has gain, you have to cut it back so that it only emits 100 watts. That's dead emissions, not an input to the antenna. Any other questions? Oh, that's right. Jack just pointed out, Jack Siacha pointed out that it's a shared band. We are secondary users on there, kind of like the 222 band. 220 megahertz, we're shared users, and along the Wyoming corridor, we're also shared users on the 900 megahertz band. So if they suddenly said that we can't, we can't. Any other? Oh, I booked way more time than I needed. Yes, sir.
Has the U.S. government taken any action with respect to the beloved foghorn?
The Chinese foghorn.
On 14 meter.
He asked if anyone has, if the government has taken notice of the Chinese foghorn, which is causing interference, and I can't answer the question, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Tried to work it, but I couldn't get anybody.
Well, you gotta get really dead. Gotta speak his language. It looks like we are. I don't have anybody standing up ready to beat me for questions, so. Jack wants the microphone again.
I saw someone else out in the hallway, if I might.
Jack, why don't you just call them out one by one?
I'm making a lot of friends this week.
Okay.
Can I see Chris out there? Chris from South Dakota? Is Chris still out here? Section manager for South Dakota? Grab him. I am not having any luck today. It's almost like when I'm asking for a date for the prom when I'm in junior high or in junior and high school, about the same thing, they disappear. Pardon? Hold it closer.
There you go, 5 and 9.
Okay. We have a guest section manager from South Dakota here in the convention, and I'd like to introduce him. Met him last night. And at the conclusion of this meeting, we are going to have the HamCon board meeting that we had scheduled this afternoon. And I didn't look at the forum schedule, and it's on top of everything. So we're trying to work this board meeting in. If you're welcome, it's an open forum, an open meeting. We're going to basically vote in the present members that want to stay, and vote out or give their blessing, I guess, the ones that want to leave, and a couple other items. If you're welcome to stay, we'll need a few minutes to set up the board. Chris disappeared. Anyway, do it honest, I'm not making this up.
He's coming.
Okay.
He's coming.
He is correct. I've chatted.
There you go. He's here.
He's here.
We went red hat, but there we go.
There he is.
This is one of our visitors from South Dakota. This is Chris Stalkop. Did I say it right? Yep. And KI03 Group also. And welcome him, and ran into him last night. So thank you much. This is our forum.
Yep, nice to meet you all.
That's all I have.
Are you sure?
For now.
Give him 5 minutes. Really sure you want to give up the microphone?
Shut up.
I used to work for Microsoft. Are you really, really, really sure you want to delete this microphone? Okay. Here we get the mic.
So there was a question in regards to the 60-meter band. I can't speak to the league's planning, but, you know, part of the process of getting the other users, the primary users, to allow amateur shared use of those frequencies was that this is an area where we can play with those other government agencies in terms of it being shared frequencies, particularly in times of disaster or emergency. The shared use that's gone on over the years has gone well, and they've been happy with that. And in the discussions that I've heard about is that they are open to more use of more frequencies. It's a question of, again, the people in the smoke-filled rooms of getting together and coming to agreement of how many more channels and whatnot. The league's proposal that was put out, and again, I can't speak to this authoritatively, but I can't imagine that the league would have gone forward with the proposal for additional channels to be available for shared amateur use without the primary users being in agreement that they're okay with the current situation. As I've had discussions with FEMA officials in regards to New Mexico, we have an upcoming exercise in August, emergency preparedness, and they have been very happy with this sharing 60-meter band, and they want it to be an integral part of this exercise. And we had an exercise early in May in New Mexico where we included the 60-meter band, and FEMA joined in and played along. So.
No. Jack, I want to say something first. For those of you who don't know, there's actually some work going on for a couple of bands below the AM broadcast band for us. Now, if you've got 20,000 acres, can stretch out an antenna, this is going to be pretty good, because these things are 1,200, what's 1,200, 3,500 meters? And at 3,500 meters, it's called SLF, super low frequency. These do not depend on propagation. They'll actually go through the earth. That's the bands that used to be used by our military to talk to submarines. So, huh? The height of a quarter wave antenna? Yeah, you got to put this thing on the moon when you work. Now, actually, I actually have seen the VLF station in Hawaii, and they're on a couple of 30-foot towers. It's really not that high, because they're not using propagation, they're using the Earth's core to transmit these signals. So it's an exciting little area. There are some experimental licenses already out there. There's a movement to show you how to use transverters to get where you can actually listen to some of this stuff. You still can't transmit unless you possess one of these experimental licenses. But it's kind of an exciting little area. I don't have enough land to put one of these antennas up, but somebody in the world might. It's incredibly, it works best in CW, I promise you. Yeah, very long characters, like 3 and 4 words a minute. It's going to be a fun little band to play with, but should I say a fun large band to play with. Those are things that are on the horizon, and I haven't heard anything in probably 3 months on that, but it's in the works. That's one thing we're trying to do. Jack, you really want this?
really want it. One last time.
Okay. This is one last time for Jack and the microphone.
One more time for the gift.
Greg, would you do this with me or for me, or help me with what this is all about? This kit we put together. Can you help me out? You're probably more knowledgeable. I see that Marty is still hiding.
Marty's right behind.
Marty! Come up here, Marty, please. Marty is the Shiloh Amateur Radio president. He was the go-to guy that, he and I spent some time on the phone trying to get these prizes and whatnot. And this last prize is a donated prize, and it will be given away here with your tickets. Hang on to your tickets. And if you'll explain what they are, I'll pull them out and you explain them. Would you do that?
Well, I'll try.
He's an educator too, retired, so he should be.
I want to thank Greg again. He's been pointed out already, but Greg was one of the ramrods here. So again, thank you. I don't know, where'd you get this from, Greg?
I got
Actually, it came off Amazon, a Chinese, dual band motor.
Anyway, it's 2 meter, 440. And what our idea was is to create a go kit. We thought we would provide the guts of the go kit, and then whoever wins it, you'll have to hook up all the connectors, you know, the cables and the connectors like that. But what we included on it was a hangable J-pole antenna, and then there was a carrying box that has a battery in it.
Is that carried in like
Okay, and so basically, you have a go kit, and like I said, you'll have to hook up the cables and stuff like that. Now, I will say this, you have a challenge, because when you have these in the boxes, it doesn't fit in the go kit. But it does fit, because we had one of our hams in Cheyenne showed us how it does fit, but that'll be the challenge to get it all in there.
He's an engineer, the guy that cleared it.
Yeah.
And my kid sends me a little note last week. It says engineer, pronounced engineer. One who makes educated guesses from information that is barely available. And then it says also say magician and wizard.
Did everyone get a ticket? Tickets.
I'll come around.
Okay, let's get the last few tickets handed out, and then since I am not in the thing, I will draw it.
That sounds good. Will you read the tickets too?
I can't read. Engineer. I am an engineer. E-N-J-E-N. I'm good at math.
That'll work. We've had a lot of fun, as you can't keep your humor to do one of those things you don't want to try it. Don't you go crazy. You lose all your hair. Tickets, tickets, tickets.
What?
Who's got the can? There's the can.
Mel, when I met Mel a few years back, he had a full head of hair.
I did until about 2 years ago too.
Yeah, until you turned 37, right?
Yes. All right, so we're going to do this by
You pulled it away, you see how you.
yes, the least value of, and this is the 20 meter, this is a neat slick outfit. It's a 40 meter dipole. Go out in the mountains with your little QRP radio. So that'd be first, all right?
Okay,
And
it's still working, so we'll wait just 2 minutes. He wants to put new batteries in the microphone.
this is like the Dickie and Tommy show.
That was actually just an excuse to get you to put it up closer so it works.
Yeah, but I'm a CW. I'm a RIDI operator. Okay, I'm assuming that the first 4 are all the same. If we have 2 with 328, then we'll figure it out. But 328. Tom?
Yes, it is 320.
Had to check it.
There you go.
Tom gets a little trap dipole.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's it.
Great. And then now, did you
Cool.
have 4 of them? 4?
4. Okay, so I have 1 ticket, 2 tickets, 3 tickets, 4. See, I told you I'm good at math. I can count to 4. I got 7 tickets in there. 302. So WI7MOM gets a $50 gift certificate.
There you go.
316. Brand new ticket. This guy here. He gets a $50 gift certificate.
We'll do
to
the
the
math.
league.
360.
These gift
Great
certificates
back.
cannot be used for membership. They're merchandise only. 261. and 236. Way in the back. Okay, and now Jack considers this the big prize, is the Go Kit. I'm looking for the one that's taped to the bottom of the... 020. 020. Come on. We gave these tickets out to people in here. Look at your ticket again. 020.
Somebody else that ran off.
020.
Somebody left. Jack started chasing people off.
020.
Too late.
All right, we're going to do this again. And Jack, this is the one you take to the bottom of the stack, too. Okay, we'll try 320. There you go.
Oh.
Okay, folks. Thank you. Thank you first for your support. Without you guys, we don't set up here. Without you, there is no league. So thank you very much for your support. And thank you for coming.
Ollie, don't go away.